In cold case Christianity, you suggest to people to control or suspend your presuppositions. Don't be a know-it-all. Let this evidence speak for itself. Doesn't this lend some good benefit that presuppositionalists have by saying, if you're presenting, metaphysical or supernatural claims to an unbeliever who doesn't have this ability to claim non-naturalistic realm, how do we speak to them then when it comes to the supernatural? When we make the claim from, did Christ rise from the grave? Okay, well, in an evolutionary world, or a quantum flux, things can pop in and out of existence, and Jesus so happened to time it perfectly for that to happen. I mean, doesn't the controlling or suspending our presuppositions, to what degree can we honestly do that?
Oh, well, it's a couple of different questions you're asking there. So, yeah, I think that all of us have opinions, and we don't expect to put jurors in place who don't have strong opinions. The question is, can't we ask them, are you able to suspend your bias or suspend your beliefs or to suspend whatever visceral emotional reaction you might be having to something in the case in order to judge as fairly as you can? We get it, that there are no such clean slate robots that are available for us to do jury, to impanel juries. So we get that. So we have to kind of work within the context of people who have opinions and who have experiences and have desires and preferences that are going to actually be part of their decision-making process. We get that. So I think that's that part of it. I don't think you can, but the real issue becomes, okay, so when you ask about presupposition, I'm trying to make sure you're asking. So ask me that question one more time in a way that, so what about presuppositions do you think is the issue?
Yeah. So for example, C.S. Lewis in his book Miracles says that to talk to somebody who doesn't believe that miracles are possible, miracles will never be possible because their worldview doesn't allow for God to enter, or for supernatural beings to enter into a natural world. And
okay, I understand what you're saying now. So what I tried to do, and this is what I actually did for myself. So I talk about this. My process into Christianity was kind of backwards. So I got to the point where I'm like, wow, every way you could test these gospels, they seem to be able to hold up to scrutiny and they appear to be reliable. Okay, that for me seemed like I could check that box, but I still would have said, but the miracle stuff, that's where I have a stretch. Okay, I'm not quite sure about that. So that's what caused me to think about my own commitment to naturalism, my own commitment to the idea that everything in the universe could be explained with the stuff that's in the universe, space-time, matter, physics, and chemistry. Because in that construct, if that's all we're working with, then everything we observe has to be explained with space-time, matter, physics, and chemistry. And I ended up doing the work that I had published in a second book called God's Crime Scene, where I just talked about, well, look, we've got good reason to believe that there are immaterial causes and features of the universe. They cannot be explained from the stuff that's in the room of the universe, space-time, matter, physics, and chemistry. Look, we already know we're in a universe that has a beginning. The best scientific work demonstrates this. This causes all kinds of people to jump to all kinds of cosmological theories. How do we get a universe from nothing? And what they believe is that from the science, that all space-time matter comes into existence from nothing, not from a prior temporal void. There's no space-time or matter before the universe comes into existence. Now, wrap your head around that for a second. That means that the first cause of the universe has to be non-spatial, non-temporal, non-material. We already think there's a force out there that is not of the natural realm, given that we think the natural realm, by definition, has space-time matter acted on by physics and chemistry. There's something out there that's outside of that is the first cause of the universe. Not only that, we experience immaterial realities like consciousness and free agency that are either entirely elusive, there's an illusion, as Sam Harris believes, because you can't explain them if all we have is this physical, deterministic universe that explains material things like brains, but it has a difficult time explaining immaterial things like minds.
Yeah, we just
words,
recently covered that in an episode of our podcast of Sam
good.
Harris.
So that's good. So you've already so my problem is that you've already bitten into this apple that exposes you to immaterial causes and immaterial realities. The only question is, are those personal or impersonal forces? If they're personal, and I think DNA tells us the story about whether they're personal or impersonal. I think that moral truths, all moral obligations are just that. They're obligations between persons. If there are objective, transcendent moral obligations, there must be an objective, transcendent moral person. You're not morally obligated to physics. You're not, and physics could never give you moral obligations.
Right.
So I think in the end, there are good reasons to believe that those immaterial realities of the universe are personal. Well, now I can go back to the Gospels. Because if there is a personal being that can create everything from nothing, walking on water is small potatoes. Everything else falls as a subset of Genesis 1, which is the most impressive miracle on the pages of Scripture. Everything from nothing.